What's going on, Salt Strong Nation? I'm out here with insiders Matthew Stevens, Everett Eugenio, and Chris Miller back up there. We're fishing for trout today before a giant winter storm. There's probably going to be some really good fish up looking for a meal before the storm hits. We're out here fishing with the classic wintertime trout lure, the Corky, and we'll probably switch it up if we don't see any action on this to some plastics like big paddle tails or jerk baits, but I think we're gonna have a pretty good bite being that these fish need to get a meal before this front hits. So I will see you guys here in a second.
So as you guys can see, we weren't too far off of the shoreline, and we really expected to find a lot of fish up shallow because the forecast said it would still be pretty warm before this giant front with 40-mile-per-hour winds and freezing temperatures hit. But when we got in the water and we kind of were feeling it on the ride out, it was much colder than was forecasted, so we decided we were probably going to have to move a little bit deeper to find some fish.
I think as we get closer to the depth change that's in front of us, we're gonna start catching more fish. Yeah, I'm moving this way because there's that curve. Once we get to that curve, I think we're gonna hit them, but there could be some bigger fish that slid up even shallower, so we started a little ways away. I just always have to fish close to a depth change for trout. Like I can't not fish next to a drastic depth change. So Everett just picked up a red over there. Me and Matt are working a little bit deeper. Chris is feeling out another zone over here. We're all just trying to spread out and see where we can find fish because the tide is a lot higher than it's been the last couple times we've been out here. So we're not 100% sure yet where we're gonna find these fish, but if we keep staying spread out, once we find them, we'll know what the pattern is.
So after not a lot of success in the shallows, me and Chris moved out to a deeper part, actually standing along the edge of a large sandbar, and he was able to get a really solid fish pretty quick.
There you go. She got mites on her?
Here, take a look. Yeah.
Yeah, she's on the bottom. She's on the bottom. Fish low and slow. That's what I'm seeing.
So Chris continued to catch some really solid fish on the bottom with that jerk shad. So I decided to kind of mimic that presentation with the Little John, which is actually a really great lure for fishing in the wintertime close to the bottom.
All right. Yeah, so I'm gonna work this Little John. We're on this depth change right here. Chris has popped a couple. And I think being that it's just a good deep area that these fish are holding, they want to feed, but it's just a little bit too cold. It was colder yesterday than it should have been, and I think before this front they still need to get some food, so they're going to be deeper, and this is the ideal presentation for deep trout that I've found, as it gets down there and it darts around real erratically, and it just triggers those really aggressive strikes from fish. So I'm going to get back to throwing this puppy. Man, you can smell those slicks out there. So again, the retrieve for this is just bam, bam, bam. Once it gets down to the bottom, I got to give it a second here because that's about 6-8 foot out there. So just bam, bam, bam. Pick up the slack, bam, bam, bam. Just really hard pops to try and get some darting action from that Little John. And that dart tends to get some really good reactions from these fish that are sitting deep and are a little cold and just need something that's going to tell them they need to feed.
So as I was fishing, I didn't realize how low my GoPro battery was getting, but you guys can see this next hook up here. The reason I'm talking over this part is because the audio was so low. I was literally on 0% battery when I got this fish. The camera was glitching out. The audio sounds kind of funky. So again, was just doing a really hard pop retrieve. Was able to pick up this fish. Thankfully, I got the hook set before it froze up.
So I don't know if my camera captured that last hook set, but I've got a nice trout right here. It's the first fish of the day. Ooh, calm down, calm down, calm down. Got a lot of energy for as cold as it is. That tells you these fish are active. Look at that, mites on her belly. She was laying on bottom, and I was working that Little John really low. Look at that right there. 1/4 ounce trout eye jig head, that glow eye with the Little John, and I think that's golden brim, but solid fish right here for sure. Let's see, she tapes out at, that's 0. She is 21. Very nice. There you go. She just threw all that water back at me. Man, I wish it had been a little warmer yesterday. I feel like what we did today, if it had been warmer, got him.
That was good, huh?
It doesn't feel as heavy as the last fish, but it's angry. I feel like, you know, since we started early up in the shallows, and it was kind of cold yesterday. I think we had the right approach for if it had been a little bit warmer. And this is the first time I've fished like a prefrontal it's already been kind of cold. So that explains why these guys are a little bit deeper right now. No monster here. Tail walking, classic baffin trout move. Yeah, no monster here, but we got to get these little guys back too, even though I think he might be legal, maybe not. But we got to get those back. Those guys are a significant portion of the breeding population, but still looking for the big girls to bite today.
Oh, okay.
It's like one of the few bay systems that's got deep channels that run through it. Like, it's just different. Like, there's 9 bay systems. And gosh, there we go. There we go. There's 9 bay systems in Texas, as I was saying, and Corpus Bay is a little bit different. For those watching the video, I was just explaining to Chris about depth changes and deep areas. And this area that we're fishing right now is well known for trout in the wintertime. And some of the other areas we fish, like Corpus Bay, are well known for trout in different seasons. But it's a bet. Yeah, see the mites right there, guys. Anytime you see that, those trout are on the bottom. Those little bugs do not get on these fish while they're swimming mid-column or anything like that. These are fish that are on the bottom, which is why that's working so well. Heavier presentations on these depth changes when these fish are deep. I think for giant trout today, for somebody that was on the water yesterday and saw how cold the water got, you know what I left out of my entire pre-plan was how cold the water was in Baffin. Like, I just factored in the water I was in a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and I figured, you know, that front hadn't hit yet. Like, we didn't have a true front. The temperature got a little bit cool and the winds picked up a little bit. Like, it didn't make me think the water temperature had dropped that much, but it clearly has. And if I'd looked at this, I would have probably pushed us.
There's a bar right here.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
That's a good shot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's go. I'm gonna move up to that bar. You're like right on the depth change. Come here, mama. That is a nice fish. Might not break 20. Maybe. We'll see here. But I'm happy with that. No, she looks like a good 19er. We got, oh, put your tail back down, girl. No, she's not 20. She's like right on that 19 edge. Still, regardless, not a bad fish. Fun fight. Love feeling that winter thump. There you go. See you, girl.
So we continued to catch a bunch of fish just using the same strategy, fishing on the edge of these depth changes. Got a bunch of really nice trout, nothing that was really monstrous, but a bunch of schoolies, which nonetheless are a ton of fun, especially when you have them dialed into their 90-10 zone like this. So caught a bunch of fish. If you guys want to learn how to find the 90-10 zone, definitely check out the link with a personalized video to find the 90-10 zone in your area. So thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.